Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth?
And Brian.
So Beth is back from it was a week, right?
Almost.
Down in Disney? Almost a week down in Disney. So she's going to give us her trip recap this week, and then we got a lot of news to cover since, I guess, because we took the week off and also because there was an investor call today. So lots of exciting Disney stuff to go over. But we're going to do things a little bit differently and start it off with our actual topic this week. So take it away, Beth.
All right. So it's not going to be probably a super long trip report. The main moral of the story, the TLDR, if you will, is if you listen to my trip report back in end of August, early September, and you heard me talk about how amazing it was and how low the crowds were and how everything was a walk-on, none of that is true anymore. Complete opposite. Honestly, was just night and day, but we'll get into it as we go. So perfect. So our intention was to get on the road pretty early and make it to Magic Kingdom for the evening just to see the lights and watch the castle projections and maybe catch a few cavalcades before the sun went down. We did not make it in time, so we didn't end up getting to Orlando area until about 5 o'clock. We decided instead we were going to go hang out at Disney Springs for a little while, which I was very excited to see Snope was happening at Disney Springs. It's the only place I saw Snope happening on my trip, so
Interesting.
if you are looking for that Snope fix, they do have it at the Springs at night. It was very pretty. Christmas trees, they have a nice little, instead of the Christmas tree stroll like they normally do, where it's like a path full of Christmas trees, they're much more spread out, obviously, to prevent crowding. We only got to check out a couple of them, but all of them were really nice and well decorated. We were staying at the boardwalk, which was the first time I'd stayed there. It was extremely nice, and I loved everything about it, and I can't wait to stay there again when COVID is not a thing anymore, so that it'll be like the actual atmosphere with people, riding around on the bikes and the bars being open and stuff like that. But for now, it was very pretty. The decorations there were also lovely. They had several Christmas trees in the lobby, one big one out in the courtyard, and we definitely enjoyed being able to walk to and from Epcot, or walk to Epcot and stumble back, as you could say.
That's the whole point of the boardwalk, right?
Right, exactly. And we were able to catch a cavalcade there as well that was very cute. It had Pluto and Goofy and then Mickey and Minnie riding in a little car behind them as they walked.
Aww.
Are they still doing the cavalcades as consistently as they were when you first went on your COVID trip?
From what I could tell, yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's I don't know what the schedule exactly is, but I kind of like that because it makes it a little more magical just to stumble upon it,
Yeah, I don't think there is a consistent schedule, at least from what I've seen, but it's nice to know that it seems like they're still fairly consistent with that, as weird as that sounds, because there isn't an actual schedule. They're still doing it as often.
Mm-hmm. One thing I will say that I was not at all used to on this trip was the fact that I had to wear warm clothing. It was actually quite cold for Florida a couple of the days we were there, and had to break out my Spirit jerseys and cardigans. And that was a unique, not used to wearing that kind of clothing at the parks. But on our Epcot day, I will say I had maybe what was the most magical moment to me was we just happened to be walking towards the USA Pavilion, and I saw some ladies that looked awfully familiar, and I recognized them as a couple members of the Voices of Liberty, and they were making their way to the stage at the America Gardens Theater. And I was like, what? So obviously had to stop and watch them, and they had the full Voices of Liberty come out on stage and do Christmas songs. And had a
Nice.
whole little set.
I think that's part of their holiday magic stuff that they're doing, but it's still really cool that it feels magical.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were going to be performing. I think it's them, and then the mariachi band, I think, comes on at other times of the day. But nonetheless, it was very exciting, and I'm glad to see that the Voices of Liberty are still kicking and going strong.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we sampled a bunch of stuff from the different kiosks. I had the jackfruit pot pie, which is like a little, vegetarian take on a pot pie, and it was delicious for all you vegetarians out there considering.
I'm not a vegetarian, and that actually sounds pretty good.
It was delicious, honestly. Even if you're not, I actually, my best friend Joshua tried it, and he's not a vegetarian, and he liked it too. It was very convincing meat taste. So good on them. I was also happy to see that Carol, the UK piano player, was playing inside the World Showplace, which is that big in between the UK and Canada, I believe. That big festival space that they've been utilizing lately. So we were in there tasting some stuff and heard the piano playing, and I looked over and I was like, oh my God, that's Carol. So that was exciting. I'm glad that she's still a part of the Disney family. And we went to ride on Living with the Land after it got dark because they have a Christmas overlay there. And
How was it?
It was actually very cute. They did a really good job.
I saw a couple of pictures and it made me very excited.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous about it. I was like, did they just randomly throw some Christmas lights here and there? But no, they actually tried. They did a really good job with this overlay. There were lots and lots of lights. They had special little displays of little snowmen that they had made. They had the big Mickey topiary had a Santa hat on it. They had a couple of other displays that looked kind of like a candy shop counter. And they had made some wreaths with different plants. There was a wreath and it had peppers hanging from it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they did a good job with it. I was very pleased. Let's see. Oh, so for everybody out there listening to this trip report probably sounds a little disjointed because I'm just flipping through my photos on my phone and talking about it as I remember it. The view from our room at the boardwalk was a pool view, and it was supposed to be of that creepy clown face slide. But luckily it's being refurbished right now, so there was a big platform in front of it. We didn't have to look out the window and see a creepy clown face every time.
Yeah, you knew it was right behind that
I
platform.
did.
Was it just in waiting?
Yeah, it was ominously just lurking in the shadows. But at least we didn't have to see it. And we were actually on the first floor, which was kind of disappointing at first, but then I kind of grew to like it because it just, I don't know. I feel like it would be a really big selling point. I talked about this with Laz. It would be a good selling point if you had a magic band lock on the outside if you were on the first floor, because then you could go directly to the pool from your back porch.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that'd be
know?
nice.
In theory, you could do that. You would just have to leave your door unlocked, which, I mean, you'd probably be fine, but I wouldn't recommend it, But yeah, Disney needs to get on that because that would make staying on the first floor an actual perk in some cases. So the next day, after our Epcot day, we did check out of the boardwalk, but had a little surprise at the desk as Goofy and Pluto bid me farewell which was really cute. I was happy to see that they had characters walking around at the resort randomly, so that was a nice little added magic. And after we checked out, we headed over to Hollywood Studios. Did not get in Rise of the Resistance, which is really unfortunate because I really wanted Laz to ride it. He has not ridden it yet. But we did get to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which was cute. And they also have increased capacity on that. They have plexiglass barriers in between the rows now so they can load twice as many people. So that was nice that it moved a little bit faster. And we did get to pilot the Millennium Falcon together. We did not do a great job. We wrecked a lot, but it was fun.
Fun is all that matters, right?
Right. And again, I want to reiterate that there's really no point in riding that if you're not the pilot. This is my second time piloting it, and it's honestly has been so much more fun than the first time I rode it when I was not a pilot. So luckily, my best friend lives right outside of the Disney property area. Well, about 20 minutes. So we went to go stay with him for a couple of nights and kind of just did a little shopping here and there for the next couple of days. And on our last park day, which was Thursday, the day before we were leaving, we went to do our Magic Kingdom thing that we had intended on doing the first day, but didn't get there in time. Everything was, of course, super beautiful and caught almost all the cavalcades. The only one we missed was the Goofy one, but we got the Princesses one, the one with Mickey and Minnie. They were both really cute. They had some country bears hanging out on the balcony with their winter scarves on, waving at people.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, it was. I liked it. Laz was like, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." And then after dark, we jumped onto the Jingle Cruise, which this was my first time riding the Jingle Cruise.
Really?
How did you
Yes.
feel?
I liked it. I feel like our skipper felt like he was a little tired. And I feel like if he had been a little more lively, I would have liked it more. But I'm not going to judge it based on that. Overall, I thought it was a really cute overlay. We had to wait in line for quite a bit. I think it was about 40 minutes. But I didn't mind because we got to look at all of the cute little decorations while we were waiting in line. And there was actually a lot to look at in the queue, which was exciting.
Yeah. Honestly, anytime I've been around Christmas, I think Jungle Cruise has the most consistently long line.
Yeah.
Because everybody's wanting to do it when it has the overlay.
Right. My favorite thing, though, was, the little tarantula in the queue. He had a little Christmas hat on.
I love it.
I was like, very cute. And the last thing on our list was to go and check out the castle projections, which change every 15 minutes. And when they change, they have a little burst of fireworks, as we talked about in the news a few weeks ago, I believe. We caught 2 of the projections, and they were both really cute. It was nice to see fireworks, even though it was just like a boop of them. Just kind of made it feel more normal Magic Kingdom. But
Some sense of normalcy is always good.
exactly. And after that, we packed it up the next day, made the very, very long trek back home. It was a lot longer
Nice.
than usual because we stopped several times, one of which being at an IKEA. I was like, oh my God, IKEA! Because the closest IKEA to us is like an hour and a half away. And we just happened, there was like one on the right off the interstate that I saw. And I was like, let's stop at that IKEA pit stop.
Did you buy some furniture or did you just go for the Swedish meatballs?
Well, I didn't get the Swedish meatballs. I went for the gummies. All their candies that they have. And a couple of little things for the house. But no furniture. We had enough in the car from our trip.
Nice. Well, it sounds like overall it was a successful trip.
It was. I will
Oh,
say.
that did not sound promising at the end there.
No. Okay, so obviously, I have always been of the mindset that a bad day at Disney is better than a regular day at home,
Yeah.
For sure.
Like I said, when I started my trip report, it was very different than the other pandemic trip that I took. The crowds were much heavier to the point where I honestly don't understand how that's 35%. Like, it felt like a normal day, pretty much. So, I would not necessarily recommend it anymore unless you have a time machine and you can go back to that first trip era and do a Disney trip. But that being said, I still felt like it was very safe. Cast members were very consistently making sure people were keeping their masks on. All of the safety precautions that were in place for my first trip were still in place for this one. I didn't feel any less safe. It was just a lot more crowded.
That's reassuring. When you said that, I was kind of thinking, oh, great, that's not exactly what I want to hear, considering,
Yeah.
we're going to be going in 3 months.
Well, I feel like a lot of it's probably that it's Christmas time and people, a lot of times they have like their yearly Christmas trip to Disney, or they just want to go and see like all the decorations and stuff. So when you go, it won't be like a special like holiday time of year. So hopefully the crowds will be lower again for you.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Well, overall, good trip. Is what it sounds like at least.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Nice. So when's the next one?
Probably February. Gotta go for
Okay.
Festival of the Arts if they have it.
I feel like that's something that they've got to at least do a watered down version of this year.
I hope they do. I mean,
A taste of Festival of the
A
Arts.
taste of festival.
That's
I
what
mean,
they were calling this one too. They had a taste of Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. This one was a taste of Epcot International Festival of the Holidays. So I guess they're
Interesting.
just gonna keep giving us little tastes until we can get back to the full meal.
Well, hopefully we get back to the full meal sooner rather than later. I would like Festival of the Arts to be back.
Yes, for sure.
So are we ready to dive into some of the news that we've missed over the last couple weeks-ish?
let's do it.
Okay. First thing that we've got on here is that Disney is testing a feature that will add digital masks to guests on ride photos. This is
so petty, and I love it so
Yes.
much.
like I
Great.
said before we started recording. This is like the most 2020 headline we could have come up with, and I'm so glad that we're here at this point.
I love it because it does nothing to fix the actual problem at hand, but it's like you know what? All I can do is mess up your photo, so boom, I'm gonna mess up your photo.
Weren't they originally like just not taking the photo or like blocking the photo out if guests weren't wearing masks?
That was it. That you weren't able to get your photo if you didn't wear a mask. And this is somehow, I don't know, like. I don't know if this is better or worse for the people who aren't wearing their masks. I don't really care because, like, they deserve it. But, I don't know. I love that it's, like, it shouldn't feel like you're messing up your picture because you should be wearing the mask anyway. So, but I love that the Photoshop masks are, like, just off enough to make it obvious that it's kind of a, bad Photoshop job, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not surprising.
Now what we need to do, I want to keep this theme going. So, like, if you take flash pictures on rides, all of your Disney Plus photos should just have, like, big flashes.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, I just keep the trend going. I want this to live on even better.
Yes. Make everybody learn their lessons. That's funny. But, I guess they probably had enough people complain about not getting a photo, especially if they paid for Memory Maker, that they're like, okay, well, you can have the photo, but we're going to Photoshop you wearing a mask because that's what you should be doing anyway. So
they need to make the masks bigger, though, so they just cover up the person's entire face.
Yeah. But I will say, I can't remember what attraction we were on. It was some sort of theater type of show, obviously. Somebody legit called, a cast member called someone out, if I recall correctly, and they were like, we can't start the show until this gentleman puts his mask on, or something like that.
Wow.
Embarrass them, make them feel bad.
I'm trying to remember what it was. Maybe I think we did PhilharMagic, so it must have been that. But yeah, I was very pleased about the proactiveness of the cast members that I saw. Lots and lots of cast members out holding signs saying you must wear your mask at all time, even for photos. And actually, when we were waiting for the castle projections to change, this couple walked up and were taking a selfie, and they took one with the masks on, and then they took their masks off and were going to take another one, and a cast member zoomed in beeline and was like, sorry friends, you got to keep your mask on even for photos.
No, that's too nice.
So I'm glad that they were doing it.
Our next news topic that we have on here is that Disney's released the park hours through February 20th, 2021. We've kind of been following the park hour updates as they've come out. This one seems like they've reduced hours now instead of extended them. Looks like some of the park hours that we're looking at now are Magic Kingdom 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Epcot 11 to 7, Hollywood Studios 10 to 7, and Animal Kingdom 9 to 5. I'm a little confused about these hours, but I guess I'll take it.
The only thing that I can think is that they tried to extend it, around nowish because it's the holidays, and then they're expecting crowds to cut back around February, so they're going to shorten them. But it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good sign for crowds that they're reducing the hours, because then less people will want to go, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still very surprised that Magic Kingdom's only going to be open until 6, whereas Epcot and Hollywood Studios are staying open until 7.
that's the one that got me the
also-
most was the Hollywood Studios and Epcot, because Hollywood Studios to me feels like it's still that park you want to hit early in the day and then not really go back to.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. It's weirder for me that they would want Epcot open later.
I don't know.
I feel like there's always been a lot of nighttime stuff to do at Hollywood Studios. Epcot, not quite so much, but Magic Kingdom's still the weirdest one to me.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, you would think Epcot would be open later because it would stay open later because it opens later. And you want to give
That's
people
true.
more time in the park. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, and then the funny thing with that too is if you think about it, Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom are open the same amount of hours. Epcot and Animal Kingdom are open the same amount of hours, but it feels like Beth said, you would kind of want to keep Epcot open a little bit longer because of them being them opening later, not reducing the hours. I don't know. It's weird. I wonder how they've decided to disperse these.
Yeah. That's it's interesting for sure, to say the least.
Sometimes Disney does stuff and I'm like, I just don't understand, but it's fine.
I'm sure that there's some logic that they're using for this, and they run a bunch of numbers, and on paper it all makes sense, but just looking at the data we're given doesn't make sense.
Yep, exactly. Next piece of 2020 news is that Disney is doing mobile checkout in the style of like the mobile ordering that they do for quick service. They've begun testing it at Mouse Gear and Epcot. It's allowing guests to check out via the My Disney Experience app and do like a mobile checkout type of situation. This is interesting. It's just one more thing to bog down My Disney Experience.
Yeah, and just I don't see the logistics of this working out very well in practice.
I see it working out very well for the group of people who are willing to utilize it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really see the point. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess in theory it could work well that you have your clear bag, you put your merchandise in it and scan it, and then you pay for it and you just show it to the cast member when you leave or whatever. Like Sam's Club, if you guys have ever been to, or probably Costco is the same way. It's like they just look at your receipt and look at the stuff in your buggy, and
Yeah,
you're like, okay.
At least the last time I went to Sam's Club, like, they still check you out.
Well,
Like, I don't know. I feel like this is going to create a bottleneck of them having to check the bags and stuff on top of people working the registers.
there's two ways that this
Yeah.
works out. There's either it gets bogged down because too many people use it and it's just not a good system for them to run, which I think is very likely. Or there's the other situation where no one uses it and it's good for, like Beth said, the few people that do use it.
Yeah.
I think
I
there's
already
no
feel
middle ground.
like, yeah. And I feel like mobile ordering is a very good use of this system that, at least when I was going, was very underutilized. And I think people are a lot more familiar with mobile ordering food. I don't think people are going to use this. Like, one, just of not knowing how to, or knowing that it exists, and two, not wanting to do it, or just ultimately forgetting about it. So I don't know.
Well,
Maybe I'll be wrong.
I hope that people are catching on more to the point that this can be successful, because at this point they're requiring you to mobile order at most places in the
Yeah.
parks to prevent people from crowding. Like, we could not even go inside of Cosmic Rays without having a mobile order. So maybe because people are used to that, they'll get used to this. I don't know.
Maybe.
Hopefully. I mean,
I do think that this will be the most effective if they had like a limit as to, like, you can only purchase 5 items or less, or 10 items or less, or whatever. Because, like, imagine if somebody got like a ton of stuff, how much time that would take to verify with the
you mean when they
customer.
start doing the collectibles and all the scalpers have like bags full of the newest pop vinyl, and they're like, no, I only have one, and they have like 30 in their cart.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm all for the contactless stuff. I'm all for Disney trying to move in a safer direction, but I feel like I said, that one more thing to bog down My Disney Experience is not it.
Yeah.
This next one that we have on here, we kind of already touched on. I don't remember if we talked about this or not, so briefly breezing through it. Disney is enhancing the Cinderella Castle Christmas projections with some little pyrotechnic pixie dust, as this article calls it. So like Beth said previously, small bursts of fireworks throughout the day as the projections are going on. It's nice. It's nice to have some normalcy back.
Yeah. It's cute. And it's kind of nice because then you can figure out, like, it was easy for us to plan when to go stand in front of the castle because it does change every 15 minutes. So wherever you are in the park, if you see or hear the fireworks go off, you're like, oh, okay, well, I got 15 minutes till the next projection. So you can make your way over there, see one projection, and then be standing there as it changes. So kind of a nice little way to schedule.
Nice.
If that's something you want to do and watch all the projections change.
I feel like that's something I would
Interesting.
probably do if I had been there enough to see that.
Yeah, I don't know how many they have total, but we saw this one that's pictured in this news article at the top. and it was really pretty. But then we also saw one that was, I think I took a picture of it. It was like an ugly Christmas sweater, which I
Oh, that's
loved.
great.
I'm gonna send it to the chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I love it.
Of the two that I saw, that one was definitely my favorite.
I love that. I love ugly Christmas sweaters.
So, kind of an aside, but tangentially related to this, have y'all seen the pictures of the projection mapping stuff that they're doing on Tower of
No.
Terror?
Yes, I
Does
actually did see it while I was there. I forgot to mention that. I only saw it in passing, but
Is anybody else not a big fan of this?
it doesn't feel right.
Like, I could see if they were doing, I don't know how you would do something like Christmas related, obviously, but like, I really don't like that they're doing Toy Story projections onto Tower of Terror. That just seems very forced and not with.
I thought they
theme
did
at
that
all.
last year,
Yeah.
didn't they?
They've
Did
been
they?
doing it. They've been doing projections on Tower of Terror for at least a couple years now, but I agree with you. I don't think that it works well in the vibe of things. It being Tower of Terror and having these like bright, happy Christmas projections.
Yeah, that's
It's like, why not just do it on the Chinese theater?
Yeah, that makes a lot.
Well, wasn't
more
that where-
sense. And is more of like the central part of the park.
Yeah, I mean, I know they have had projection shows on the Chinese theater as well, but it just makes more sense to me for Christmas specific stuff to be, like you said, in the central location, not
Yeah.
Tower of Terror off to the side in the back.
Yeah, that's what I it's weird because I remember, didn't they do oh my gosh, what was the nighttime show that they did at Hollywood Studios? Jingle Bell Jingle Bam, wasn't that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't that on the
yep,
Chinese theater?
Yep, it's all coming back.
Yeah, I think
And I
so.
feel like that's, like you said, that's a really good place for it because it is kind of the central hub. It's just so, the Tower of Terror is a weird spot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip this next one and push that towards the end, and then go to this next one here. Rise of the Resistance, Runaway Railway, and Imagineer Bob Weiss are honored for a Themed Entertainment Association award. This one's a little bit older, but I don't think we touched on this one too. I think all of these are very well deserving.
Definitely.
Especially as we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Rise of the Resistance, which apparently didn't have a very good anniversary. Did you guys see that? It apparently had some issues, which is kind of fitting for that ride.
Yeah. Apparently, it's been having a lot of issues lately, and the day that we were at Hollywood Studios, we tried both times to get a boarding pass and did not succeed either time. And I'm kind of glad in retrospect because I was reading articles later that day about how some of the animatronics weren't working and some of the effects weren't working and some of the stuff wasn't synced up well that day. And I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of glad that wasn't Laz's first experience on the
Oh,
attraction.
yeah, that would have been a bad time.
But, like, I just don't understand how it messes up so often. You know?
Yeah, you would think they would fix those kinks, but here we are.
Well, I haven't been on it, but I would think that this is like, you know, this is their, like, across all of Disney World, like, the e-ticket attraction right now, that you would be pouring whatever you could into it to make sure it was operating correctly.
You would
Yeah.
think.
Especially when there's so much animosity about getting a boarding pass, like to actually get one and then stuff to be messing up. I would be pretty angry.
Yeah.
But
Outstanding
yeah, I was just about to say,
though.
for all of that said, I think these awards are very well deserving. I think we're at a point now where we're seeing a lot of innovation with ride technology, and Rise of the Resistance and Runaway Railway are both like at the forefront of that. So it's good that they're honoring those. And then of course Gotta honor Bob Weiss for his lifetime of distinguished achievements. So our next news topic on here is that Orlando International Airport is to open an on-site COVID-19 testing center. This is interesting, specifically because we're at a point where we can do rapid testing despite how accurate it may or may not be. And with Florida being Florida, it's a good thing to have, especially in the airport.
Yep. Yeah. Curious to see how they implement it, but yeah, obviously, I don't think testing can ever really be seen as a bad thing. So it's good to get some more in there for people that are traveling and might need to.
Well, the best part of this, I think, is like it gives people the chance to still travel, which I guess Florida really still wants, and people aren't going to stop at that. So it's nice. It's nice that there's a safety net.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe this is a little political, but I don't agree with the rapid testing because it's been shown to be so unreliable. You know, there's been case after case after case of people who did rapid testing and then tested negative, but they actually had it. Like tons of false negatives and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like it's good that people are trying to be more proactive, but at the same time, I don't want it to become like a comfort that you get a negative test when it's a rapid test.
Yeah.
You know?
And I fully agree with that. I think that it would be a false comfort to have that sense of security that like, oh yeah, I did whatever, I did test positive or I tested negative at the airport, which nobody should take that as a sign that it's still safe to travel.
Yeah,
I think you should be doing your own precautions, but it's nice to have because of like I would rather have people taking a test even if it's not as 100.
It's better to take a rapid test
exactly.
than no test at all, for sure, but
it's still not great.
Yeah. I just don't want people to fall into a false sense of security.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm kind of curious, though, like, I mean, if they're testing them at the Orlando airport, that means those people are already here. So I'm kind of confused about what that's really going to mean. I mean, like, obviously I would hope that anybody that landed and, had a positive test would immediately quarantine themselves. But I also worry that people are like, well, I'm here. So, like, what are you going to do now?
well,
Yeah, it would make more sense for them to have to do it at their like home airport.
I wonder if that's
Before
more
they
what
fly
it's
in.
designed for. Like, do you think that it's
Yeah.
more for people that are flying out of Florida rather than into Florida? Because that may actually make sense.
Well, but then it's like, why? So maybe, but it also seems weird because obviously, Orlando is pretty huge on incoming flights because of the tourism. So you would think that, with them doing it here, that they would be doing that for the incoming people. But yeah, it does make a lot more sense to do it at the outgoing airport.
But then I hate to contradict myself, but then you also run the risk of like, what if somebody is leaving, like, what if somebody's leaving Florida and tests positive? Then what do you do? Like, do you make them stay in Florida to quarantine? Because I feel like we're at a point where not a lot of people are going to accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, this just seems maybe like it's causing a lot of new problems instead of fixing old ones.
It brought up a lot more questions than I actually thought I had. So
Yeah.
interesting. And then last news topic before we take another longer news topic on. Joe Rohde has announced his retirement from Walt Disney Imagineering, which is rather unfortunate.
Such a bittersweet bit of news, because I mean, dude's earned it 10 times over, you know. But it's still, you as a huge Disney fan, you hate to see it.
And it just makes you worry for the future. Like, I feel like he has had such a big part in so many of the good things, obviously Animal Kingdom in particular, but like, hopefully there will be great new talents and people that will be able to step up and fill his shoes.
That's true. But I mean, like, for the longest time, like, Joe Rohde has been like the Imagineer that people know about, that even people that aren't like huge into Disney know about. And now that he's leaving, it's kind of like, who is that person now?
Yeah.
You know, I know we got Tony Baxter coming back, like, a little bit.
I almost
but,
wonder
you know,
if Joe Rohde's actually going to stay away, though. I feel like of any Imagineer, he's probably the one that I would most expect to actually retire, because he does a lot of other things. But like you said with Tony Baxter, it's like he retired, but did he really?
But no, I think you make a good point too. I would definitely see Joe Rohde like actually retiring. You know, he likes to separate himself from Disney when it's outside of Disney. So I would see him doing this as kind of like a clean break, which again is sad, but at the same time, like, you know, he's got other stuff going on. Dude travels the world and does all kind of other cool stuff. I wouldn't want him to feel like, you know, tied down and have to be attached to Disney now, because he obviously has other stuff that he wants to do. But, you know, if he was like, I'm going to come back and do some stuff, I'm not gonna stop him.
I mean, I also wonder, I hate this question, and I really hate that I'm even asking this. I wonder what this means for Expedition Everest, because he did promise he was going to fix it, and not that I want him to, because I really don't care if he does or doesn't. But
I think we all just need to move on from the Yeti and accept it, and just love the Yeti that we have, not the Yeti that could have been. My
hot take's always been, I don't think anybody would notice if he didn't fix the Yeti or did fix the Yeti. But
I feel like it's become like, I don't know, a taboo thing in a way that's the go-to of like, when's the Yeti gonna get fixed? Like every time Joe Rohde's name comes up, it's Yeti, Yeti, Yeti.
Yeah.
It's just like, maybe we all just need to learn to love the Yeti we have.
Maybe.
He's not so bad. He likes to party.
Strobe light. But his goodbye post was also bittersweet too. I think out of any current Imagineer that we have, his portfolio is so extensive, and I think his work over the last couple of years is very well deserved of him stepping down.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, you know, so many of kind of, you know, the original Imagineers, or at least the ones that were, you know, on the team in like the 60s and 70s, are pretty well known, you know, to Disney people. And then it was kind of like there's this really kind of like long gap, and then you have some people like Joe Rohde and Tony Baxter, and then it kind of feels like there's not the, like, I don't know, at least not the like well-known top tier talent at Imagineering anymore now. But I don't know, maybe it's just not, I'm not in the know.
No, you're right. I think there's not really like
but
an up and coming Imagineer that we know about.
Maybe there's some fresh underdogs that'll make their name in the next few years.
I'm sure I mean, obviously there's a ton of incredibly talented people there. They're just obviously not as in the public eye as some of the other Imagineers have been. Because it's not, I mean, it's not to take away anything that Joe Rohde's done, because he's been doing obviously incredible stuff. But, you know, it's not like, Joe Rohde's like team on my back every day and doing like every little thing that it takes to get done in Imagineering. So there's obviously been other people doing stuff. So, but yeah, this is, wish the dude well. Hope he has an awesome retirement. How long do y'all think it is until he gets a window on Main Street?
Oh, very good question.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he has
For
to
sure.
get one.
He's got to. If anyone deserves one right now, it's definitely Joe Rohde. But
So this might seem kind of weird. He totally deserves a window on Main Street, and maybe he gets that. But also, I would love to see them somehow incorporate something like that at Animal Kingdom to honor him.
That would be
Because
cool.
Obviously, that's the park that that means the most to
Yeah.
him.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see something like that.
I would be too. And how would you want them to honor him in Animal Kingdom? That's, I guess, the big question.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if there's any kind of cool, like, subtle way to do it like the Main Street windows are. But, I mean, hell, even if they were to give him some type of, like, partner statue type deal, I would be completely okay with that. I think he deserves that.
They could do, like, how they have, like, the, I don't know, paintings, or not necessarily paintings, but there's, like, the atmosphere around Everest that has, like, the little signs for fake shops. They could do something like that, like one of those, change it up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be nice. I feel like he deserves at least that. So last thing that we've got, which we have maybe like 20 minutes to cover. Today was an investor call day, and we got a lot of Disney Plus news.
I mean, it's kind of carrying the company right now, so I'm not surprised that that's what they wanted to talk about.
I mean, it makes sense, and we're also at a point. I was kind of thinking this the other day that while Disney Plus is super cheap, I feel like I haven't really used it as much. Which for $7 a month, it's easy to kind of just forget it. But if I was paying like Netflix prices for Disney Plus right now, I'm not sure that I 100% would, be thrilled with that. But after all these announcements, I'm very happy. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that they've announced. I'm going to say, before we get started, huge shout out to Danny on our Discord for basically live tweeting this to us.
And tagging me 3 times, even though I was not at my phone / computer.
But that's what we're going to be using to go through this, because there isn't really, at the time of recording this, a cohesive enough list for us to follow everything through. So yeah, let's dive through some of this stuff. I'm going to skip all of this beginning stuff with like Fox and everything, because we don't really need to know that Keeping Up with the Kardashians will be streamed to Disney Plus.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is that real?
Wait, what?
It's in the list of things that Danny sent in here, so let's find out if that's real.
Yeah, Danny, you need to check your sources.
Well, she listened in on the call,
confirmation
so...
on that one. Wow, that's
so
wild.
I did find this Polygon article that has links to all of the announced stuff.
If you want to share that may be a good idea.
I put it in the topics.
Did you?
Yeah. Did y'all see the one about the Cars show?
No.
I guess these are just tweets that people are doing to update, but it just says, "Sorry, not sorry. Pixar is making a Cars show. Ka-chow, bitches."
Oh, this is like a live tweet string from Polygon. Why can't I? It's not loading for me.
Well, if we're starting off at the very end, or like the very, I guess, beginning of the call, rather.
Yeah.
There was some photos from the set of Hawkeye, and we learned that he has a dog now. That's pretty much what I gathered from it.
It's okay. Yes, he does. That's it's in the comics. I think I'm very not familiar with Hawkeye. Like I like him enough, but I don't know too much about him. But he has a dog, and his dog is named Pizza. Pizza Dog is his sidekick, and yes, you can Google that to fact check it.
It says his name is Lucky, but you can call him Pizza Dog.
Yeah.
So what's up with this Haley Steinfeld character? Who is she?
So she is, again, I'm not super familiar with Hawkeye. So
Also known as Hawkeye?
yes. She is, if I'm correct on this, she's going to be playing Kate Bishop, who is the female version of Hawkeye. I don't know Marvel that well. I mean, not Marvel. I don't know Hawkeye that well. I know some bits of Marvel comic stuff. Probably would be better to ask Steve this question from the Hyperion review, because he's apparently a really big Marvel guy. But the Marvel did a thing a while ago where they changed up a lot of their bigger characters. Like that's where we got Miles Morales for Spider-Man and like Ms. Marvel, and they kind of shifted their universe to be more inclusive, as hard as that is to say. And one of the things that came out of that, I'm pretty sure, is Kate Bishop, which is the female Hawkeye, who basically trains under Clint to be the actual Hawkeye, which is supposedly what this movie is, or this series is going to be about.
So like his protege
Yes,
or whatever.
Basically.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with Hawkeye, so somebody is going to come for me on that one.
I am very into the MCU, and that's pretty much as far as my Marvel knowledge goes.
I tried to. There are some comics that I've read.
There's too many comics, bro. Like
That's fair. It's very fair.
if somebody out there wants to give me like a concise list of these are the ones I should read, go for it. But I can't just start and like, I don't know, pick at random. It just is so overwhelming. It's like I'm never gonna watch Dragon Ball Z or Naruto, you know? There's just too much at this point. I'm so far behind.
I don't recommend you do either of those things, but well, the thing with comic books, we're kind of a little off topic with this, but the thing with comic books is you do kind of have to pick and choose what you want to read. Like there are story arcs that, you know, you can read. Like if you're interested in one line of stories, you can kind of read them from start to finish, and they're fairly easy to figure that out from. But it is very daunting considering you look at like how many issues of Spider-Man were printed, and there's over like 1 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but you decide like, oh, I saw Into the Spider-Verse and I want to read the comic book version of Spider-Verse. You could easily go online and say like, this is what I want to read. And if you're interested and can do digital stuff, Marvel has their Marvel Now, I think is their comic service that you can do online where you can actually read them digitally. And the way that they sort them is really nice too. It breaks them down by like, if you want to read this event, these are the ones you have to read. So if you're interested, that's a good way to keep up with it. But we're off topic of Disney Plus and the investor call. So do we want to go through... Did we want to go through any of this stuff, or do we want to just start right at Lucasfilms?
Well, hang on, guys, because what I'm most excited about, kind of half sarcastically, but not really, is that there's going to be a new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw that. That's alarming. Are Are you guys starting from the bottom and scrolling up, or were you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was doing.
Sorry, I scrolled
No,
all the
that
way up to
is
the start, and I was working my way
really
down. That's why I think we're in a different spot. Okay, so we can talk about it from the bottom and work our way back then. I guess that's easiest, like you said. Oh boy, where did we even...
So we did the Hawkeye thing. The next thing that I see is that we got a sneak peek, a teeny tiny sneak peek of Percy Jackson series. I never read any of those books, so I don't really care, but...
Me either. I'm hoping they do a better job with this than they did with the old
Artemis Fowl.
Artemis
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll see. So then after that we have Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be taking the Mulan route and going to Disney Plus with Premiere Access.
I'm so sad about this.
I'm not happy about it, but at least this is one that I'm willing to pay for.
That's fair. I mean, I would pay for this too. I don't like the Premiere Access business model. I'm sure it
I don't
did
either.
great for Disney. I'm sure it was, wonderful. But
Well, I think this one's going to do a lot better than Mulan did. I never saw the numbers on that, but I feel like there's going to be a ton of people that will be more willing to pay for whatever the newest Disney animated feature is than we're going to pay for the Mulan live
That's-
action.
I just wish we could find a happy medium between charging $30 and that being a great deal for a family of 5 versus charging $30 and that not being a great deal at all for 1 or 2 people in the household.
Yeah. However, and I don't know, I might catch flack for this. I do like the fact that this is like pretty much, if not shutting down, at least causing movie theaters to kind of do away with their what has always seemed like price gouging to me. So at least that will come of this, and maybe if movie theaters are going to survive, that they won't have ridiculous prices for things anymore.
yeah,
I hope movie theaters survive.
I do.
What?
But
We've talked a lot about this, me and Laz. We are, I don't know how to put this in a PG way. We love movies.
I'm sad to see the movie going experience kind of disappear, but I feel like this is it's going to be an interesting thing to look forward to with them doing like more Premiere Access and more like launching on Disney Plus stuff. I think a lot of movie companies are going to head in that direction, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that's the future.
It's just,
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think this combined with the HBO Max announcement is, I'd be pretty nervous if I owned a movie
Well, a
theater.
lot of them
Yeah.
are already struggling and are already having issues like keeping their doors open. Of course, not right now, but like planning for after the pandemic. A lot of our local movie theaters have shut down.
yeah. The thing that makes me really sad about the, I guess, possibility of movie theaters becoming a thing of the past is that it's such an experience. Like, you're never gonna have that big of a screen in your house. You're never gonna have like that kind of surround sound unless you spend like a ton of money. And just like feeling the energy in the room. Like last night, Laz and I watched Infinity War, and we both were just like, oh my God, remember when we saw this in the theater? And you know how at the end of every Marvel movie, people clap? And then we went and saw Infinity War, and the whole theater was just so silent and somber, and everybody was just like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And I hate the idea that that's not going to be a thing anymore. I love the like camaraderie of it, you know?
I agree. I feel like event movies aren't going to be the same to watch from your house. Like Mulan, I'm not upset that I waited for it to hit Disney Plus, but that's a topic for another discussion. But if I were to have to watch Infinity War from my couch, I feel like it wouldn't have hit me the same way.
Yeah. Or just like the last Harry Potter movie when I saw that in theaters. It's just like everybody in the theater just like crying together. You know? It's great. It's a great bonding experience with strangers.
Crying in front of strangers, a thing I won't miss from the pandemic. But
anyway, so Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be a premiere access release. I'll probably pay for it, but I won't be happy about it.
yeah, I hope that this doesn't flop because of that, because this movie feels like it's always getting forgotten when they talk about new Disney movies.
All right, so let's see. Next we have Disney Plus will soon have weekly Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney animation originals.
Some of these are, I don't know. Some of these are interesting. Some of them are not, at least for me. I have kind of been interested in the What If series that they've been talking about doing since they launched Disney Plus. That was always exciting because it's, I think, especially for Marvel, it's going to be interesting to have like that fresh take. And I always find like with Marvel stuff, when they mix things up, that's when it's the most exciting for me. Star Wars, I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like it's easier to do with Marvel because that's more adaptable. But Star Wars is going to be interesting too.
Yeah, so the summary is that in the next few years, we will have around 10 Marvel series, 10 Star Wars series, and 15 series under the Disney banner encompassing Disney animation, Pixar, and live action. And 15 completely new movies will also debut on the streaming service.
I think we didn't get the full Marvel lineup, correct? I know we know most of it though. Like with the stuff that's already coming, I think they were all including that. Yeah. But we did get all of the Star Wars titles at least.
Yes.
And can I just say two of them are very exciting to me. For the titles, I guess we should probably talk about them. We have Rangers of the New Republic, The Bad Batch, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, Andor, Lando, Jesus, Visions, Rogue Squadron. I can't even read that one because the font is so horrible on it. And the Droid Story.
The Acolyte.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking at this picture of all their logos, and for some reason that one's got that like weird, kind of looks like Captain Marvel font where it's like red, but it's got that yellow line through it. Yeah. And it looks horrible.
I have two things to say.
Go ahead.
One, this is super overwhelming to me as someone who hasn't even been able to catch up on the Star Wars stuff that already exists. Two, the fact that Hayden Christensen is coming back does not get me excited about the Kenobi series.
All right, here is my thing. This is my hope for all of this. I hope that they're connected in some way, but not enough where you feel like you have to watch all of them. Because I agree, as someone that does like Star Wars and is mostly caught up on it, I think it's going to be such a miss if they're doing weekly Star Wars content for all of these, and you have to follow every single one of them to get the entire story.
I also have a question.
Go ahead.
Who is Cassian? Am I supposed to know who that is? Cassian Andor? Is that his name?
Yes, that's have you seen Rogue One?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember.
Yes.
He's that brown-haired guy.
Yes.
Okay. I vaguely remember him. I only saw Rogue One once.
Rogue One is so good.
I did like it, I will say. Mm-hmm. But I only saw it once, so I don't remember everybody's name.
That's fair. But can I just say I'm so excited for Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. I think those are going to be so good, and I'm so excited for more content about them. And then the original stories obviously are going to be fun too, but the fact that they're bringing two of my favorite Star Wars characters into their own series, I'm just over the moon about that.
I just hope they're not spreading themselves too thin, you know? Because
Yeah.
they're going to keep The Mandalorian going in addition to all of these,
Yeah.
So it's just a lot. So hopefully they have a lot of good people on their team and they're not spreading themselves too thin.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously Mandalorian's been great. Almost everybody that watches it loves it. But it's kind of like, it did well, so then they greenlit everything based off of that, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So, yeah, hopefully that they'll be able to keep all of them going.
Yeah,
at high
it feels a little bit reminiscent of when Marvel was trying to do their thing with all their TV shows, and some of them were great and some of them were not. They just had so much going on all at the same time. They had Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, Jessica Jones, and then they had, those were the good ones, but then they had all those other ones too, like
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist I liked.
I thought that was the miss out of all of the Netflix
I would say it was
ones.
probably the weakest, but I still liked it. But I feel like the real misses were, I can't even remember, Inhumans I did not think was great. Runaways was okay for a while, and then I feel it fell off. I never tried Cloak and Dagger. They had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. They just had so much going on, and you could tell that some were getting the love and some weren't. And that's kind of what I feel like hopefully doesn't happen here, but I worry will.
Well, so I think the biggest advantage to this is all of those were, well, not all of them, but most of them were Marvel affiliated and were technically MCU canon, but weren't like Marvel run. Like the Netflix ones were, but they weren't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that is unfortunately some of the downside to them. While you didn't necessarily like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I liked
did
Agents
a
of
good-
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't like that. I thought you said that was a miss.
No, I said Inhumans.
Oh, okay. But I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a good one to look at, though, because it was run by Disney and it was carried through like the Marvel stories. I think the big boon with this is going to be more that it's Disney Plus and it's Disney running stuff. So
Yeah.
like they'll be able to control their own properties.
Yeah, that's true. Plus,
I'm
they
just
don't have
happy-
like that weird. They like own Lucasfilm outright, and they don't have a weird arrangement like they do with Marvel, where they have some of it and don't have others.
Yeah. I'm just happy we're not getting the Star Wars stuff from the Game of Thrones showrunners anymore. I'm happy we live in a world where that doesn't
Can
exist.
all be happy about D&D not getting their paws on it.
So what else do we have on here?
So we have an Alien series headed to FX and Hulu from Fargo creator Noah Hawley.
I'm
That's
intrigued.
interesting.
I'm intrigued also. But that's as far as my feelings go, I feel.
Yeah. I think a lot of this stuff that's not Disney Plus or like a lot of the FX stuff and the Fox own stuff, that's not going to be exciting to me until it actually hits the streaming services. Mm-hmm. But I also think that's because I'm not necessarily the target for most of that stuff.
So then we also have live action remakes of Pinocchio and Peter Pan are going to be Disney Plus originals.
I hate this.
Brian said this a couple weeks ago. Can we just get through all of the freaking live action movies so that
Yup.
we can focus on making new stuff?
I'm actually really happy to see this. That it's just like, okay, just throw them on Disney Plus. Yep. Throw 'em
I'm
on there.
Churn
Let's
them
go.
out and get over it and let us move on with our lives.
I don't even understand, like, how the hell are they going to do Pinocchio? I mean, is it going to be like a CGI? I don't know. I'm just, none of these need to be
No.
made. None of them. So,
Although it does say here the Pinocchio
Like-
remake is going to star Tom Hanks as Geppetto and Alan Cumming as Honest John.
But it's almost like, I don't know, all of the live actions have had big name stars in them, and it hasn't saved most of them. So, I mean, if I don't know. We had Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen in Beauty and the Beast, and it was decent, but they also didn't really save it. If anything, I feel like that's Disney just being like, look at these big name people that are in this movie, even though they don't really play a big part in it.
I also think a better comparison for that too is look at The Lion King. Like, that movie was all big name people. The entire cast of that was built up because of the stars that were in it, and it was basically like, you should see this movie because you like these actors. But that's arguably one of my least favorite live action movies.
For sure. It was basically like, what if we pick some of your favorite people and had them do a reading of the original Lion King?
Yeah. I gotta say, I know this isn't Disney, but the thing that taught me the most out of everything that having big names does not a good movie make.
Oh,
Cats.
No. Again, Ian McKellen.
Oh my God! Honestly,
not
he
saving
was even
it,
he
so.
was bad in that. It was shocking. It's like, come on, man! I know you're better than this.
He's sullying his good name.
But everybody has a miss now and then, so.
Disney's just unfortunately stuck in theirs with the live actions.
Yeah, they're just like, let's have several misses until we can get a hit.
I'm convinced, I know we're kind of hanging on this one for a little bit, but I'm convinced that Disney is churning these out because they're cheaper to make than animated movies. Not that I think that they're cheap to make. I think that this is the cheapest way for them to pump out a movie every year or so and get people into the audience because people are still seeing them.
Yeah, plus it's just easy.
That's
right. That's exactly it. I think they're doing this because it's easy.
Yeah.
And I think the issue right now is that Disney has too much money where they don't have to sit down and say, where do we need to spend our resources? What do we think is really going to be, the good decision to make? It's just somebody just speaks up in a meeting and it's just like, yes, also that. Yes, we'll do that one too. And it's just they just do everything.
Live action Finding Nemo? Go ahead, greenlight it.
Dude, I mean, seriously, we're getting to the point where we're running out of the big name classic movies and they're just going to start doing all of them.
I think...
we're going to have a live action Emperor's New Groove before too long.
Please,
I'm calling
no.
it. 3 years or less, Emperor's New Groove live action. You heard it here first, guys. I'm calling it.
I think that they should have done, if they wanted to do something that would be more successful, redo the movies that didn't do well at the box office in their time. Do Atlantis. I know everybody said that over and over again, but
to be perfect, that would be one that I would love to see.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think with live actions, everyone's so apprehensive because you don't want to see your childhood ruined. But take a movie that not a lot of people really a lot of people our age remember Atlantis, but not a lot of people have that same attachment that some of us have with it. And if you do, you're going into it with the mindset of, I actually kind of want to see how they would make this better, instead of something where you're going into it and you're like, oh gosh, this is not going to be great. And I'm going to leave, with my childhood in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell I didn't like Mulan?
Yep. I have not watched it yet, if
but
that tells you anything. I'm going to.
I honestly...
It's not high on my priority list.
I want to talk about it, but I don't want to ruin it for you before you go into it.
I think we should have a Patreon episode about it.
Okay. I would absolutely be down for that.
Because then we can rip it to shreds without any filters.
I ripped it to shreds on our Discord already. So, anywho, what was next on here with these announcements?
Yep. We got John Mulaney and Andy Samberg are the new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
I love this because it's so out there.
This is wild, honestly.
I just want to know how they're going to do this. It says live action, but like,
I'm
are
sorry,
we going to get
what?
them?
I missed that part.
Wait a minute.
Did you not?
Hybrid
I'm
live
pretty
action
sure.
animated.
Ooh.
All right, I'm out.
I don't know if I'm as excited about this anymore.
It's like Tom and Jerry movie. Anybody?
Oh God, don't even remind me about that. Ugh.
That looks, honestly, I want to watch it just because I know it's going to be awful.
Jeez. I want to see this because like I love the actors that they've picked for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what is happening here. Like who at Disney was like, you know what the world needs? Live action Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
I'm very, very curious about this now.
Yeah. We'll see. Time will tell. Next on the list, super exciting. A Diary of a Wimpy Kid animated series is coming to Disney Plus. Who's stoked about that?
All right, Beth, get to the next exciting one because that's the one we know you're waiting to
next
talk
exciting
about.
one is that Moana and Tiana are getting their own Disney Plus shows. I am so excited. Finally, after all these years, they doing my girl some justice. They giving her an attraction, giving her a show. Yes, please, and thank you.
On top of that, they also announced a Zootopia show and a Big Hero 6 show.
Didn't they already have
yeah.
a Big Hero 6 show?
They did. This one's going to be more of a, from my understanding of it, the Big Hero 6 one is called Baymax, and it's only going to focus on Baymax, but it's more about his, like, healthcare protocol stuff.
Boy, nothing gets me more excited than healthcare.
I was about to say
mean,
that sounded like the most boring direction I could have taken.
Here's the thing, though.
Did
I
you
feel
fill
like
out
as
your
a
paperwork?
I feel like as a kids show, it could work though. Like if they did it purely for a younger audience, I think that would be great, and I think it would be fun.
It's
like,
just their
having
propaganda
Baymax-
about the healthcare
Yeah.
industry.
But
I will send you to billing now.
I'm sorry, your
horrible.
insurance didn't cover that.
Oh man.
I'm probably so wrong, but I'm happy I created this meme. The Zootopia one looks actually kind of good though.
They
It's-
could definitely go a lot of places with that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Well, the other thing is apparently it's like an anthology series, which is really cool
Oh,
because
nice.
then they can just open it up and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
The summary for the Zootopia show is from the largest elephant to the smallest shrew, the city of Zootopia is a mammal metropolis where various animals live and thrive. When Judy Hopps becomes the first rabbit to join the police force, blah, blah, blah. This is literally Zootopia.
Are you reading the Zootopia synopsis?
Maybe I am. I'm having an off night, guys.
No, that's
Apparently that was the Zootopia synopsis, so let's enjoy that for what it was. But apparently it's from this other article that I just pulled up. It's a short form spinoff, which is going to be, like I said, it's anthology. But it says they'll star reality shows like the Real Mousewives of Little Rodentia.
oh my god, I
And
love
so you
that.
think you can prance? I love this so much.
Yes. I am excited about this as well.
It seems like a very parody style show, and I'm absolutely here for that. But of course, Moana and Tiana. How can we
Yes.
not be
So-
excited about that?
Yes. I love Moana. Obviously, I love The Princess and the Frog. That's my favorite. I'm super excited that these girls are getting some more time in the spotlight. So the Moana show is going to dive into the mythology of the Pacific Islands, which is
that's cool.
super interesting to me. I'm very excited to see what they make of that. And then Tiana's show, it says, will focus on her stepping into the role of a princess of a new country, as well as to explore more of the richly animated New Orleans seen in The Princess and the Frog.
Interesting.
So, like I said, I'm just so excited, especially for Tiana. I feel like people have been sleeping on her for so long. You guys have no idea how many people I've talked to, and they're like, oh, you're such a big Disney fan. What's your favorite Disney movie? And I say The Princess and the Frog, and they're like, oh, I've never seen that one. I'm just like, why haven't you seen it? It's the best one.
The one thing that I'm super shocked about with this is, and I kind of wonder if it's riding on like the success of Tangled the series. It feels like they waited so long to give Tiana as much love as they have been lately, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, by the time it comes out, it'll have been like, what, 12 or 13 years since the movie?
Holy crap, has it been that long?
It came out in 2009.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's long, long overdue, but I'm not going to complain about it. Better late than never.
I suppose. So next thing that we've got, this is the Marvel stuff, it looks like.
Yes. So we got the final trailer for WandaVision came out. I'm super excited about that show.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
And then we got the first trailer for The Falcon and Winter Soldier. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They messed it up in the headline, and I read it wrong. I
feel like
I'm excited. I'm a huge, like I said, I'm a huge MCU fan, so I'm excited about all of these shows that are coming out. I think it's interesting that, like, this is an interesting team up to me. Falcon and Winter Soldier. It makes sense because they were like both BFFs with Cap, but like in different ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love me some Sebastian Stan. I'm excited about this. And then we had the announcement that Marvel will not recast Black Panther after Chadwick Boseman's passing, but Black Panther 2 is still happening. So I think there's been a lot of speculation that someone will be stepping into the Black Panther role that we've seen before. Most people think that it will be Shuri, but nothing has been confirmed. I will say I'm very glad that they're not recasting Black Panther. I think that's a great way to honor Chadwick Boseman, is to let him live in eternally as the only Black Panther. Well, the main Black Panther that we know anyway. And then...
Yeah, and I think that's appropriate,
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it would have been in bad taste to recast. And then we also got Marvel announced Secret Invasion and 4 other new Disney Plus series for the MCU. So Secret Invasion is going to be starring Nick Fury and the Skrull agent Talos as they deal with a secret Skrull invasion on Earth. Then we also got Ironheart, which is a series for the teenage hero Ironheart, a young black girl from inner city Chicago who reverse engineers Tony Stark's armor to become the protector of her neighborhood. Interesting. Then we got Armor Wars, which they did not give a synopsis of. And Disney Plus will also host Marvel's first live-action Christmas special, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
This was one that I heard it, and I was surprised, and then I heard Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, it just makes sense.
Oh, sorry. Here's the synopsis for Armor Wars. It was above instead of below the image. For the darker side of what happens when Iron Man tech falls into the wrong hands, Don Cheadle will return as War Machine in a series based on Marvel Comics' Armor Wars. Interesting. But yes, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I'm anything Guardians, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then there also is going to be I Am Groot, which is going to be a series of shorts featuring new characters from around the Marvel Universe. So, lots and lots of stuff going on in Marvel as well.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the Marvel stuff we knew about, but it's always exciting that they're still trucking stuff out over there at Marvel.
And then we also, not done with Marvel, we got a new Fantastic Four movie coming to the MCU. Now that they own those, I guess they can weave them in, which is pretty cool.
Again, cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, yes, that's the key phrase here.
That's the word of the night.
And then Marvel's animated What If shows the possibilities of the multiverse. I'm intrigued by that. I know we already knew about it, but
Yeah.
I'm still excited. Then moving on to animation, we got Pixar is making a Buzz Lightyear sci-fi epic.
I love this so much.
This seems very cool. Very interesting. It's supposed to be like an origin story, right?
It says the film
Yes.
will take viewers to where the original Buzz Lightyear story first began. Yes.
But did you see who is voicing
I did.
Buzz Lightyear?
It's Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Which is
Bay.
it's weird.
This is
I'm
the
interested.
First, yeah, I was gonna say this is the first time that it's ever been weird that Tim Allen didn't get the role.
I mean, it's funny to me, like you said, that it's weird that Tim Allen didn't get the role, but I feel like this is the one where if they're gonna recast Buzz Lightyear, do it in his origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get Chris Evans doing a Tim Allen impersonation?
I mean, he
I
kind of
hope
has
not.
that, like, Buzz Lightyear voice already.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like it'll work well.
You mean that like stern captain voice?
Yeah.
I think he has the voice that Tim Allen wants Buzz Lightyear to have when he does the voice. So this might work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got a Cars show coming out.
Disney just needs to let
Okay.
cars die.
Yep, they sure do.
It's their series, their franchise for Hot Wheels little boys. Like, I get it. It's merchandising, but
I hate cars. I hate it.
it's fine. I
Ciao.
mean, I was going to say, I've only seen the first one, and it was fine. But that's as much as I cared to watch. So I feel like that says something.
Yeah. The first one, because it was kind of funny, because it was like, oh, how are we going to see these cars doing things that people really do? And then they just kept doing it, and like the joke got so old.
Mm-hmm. But in addition to a Cars series, we're also getting a series about Doug from Up called Doug Days, which each episode focuses on Doug and Carl encountering something new in their quaint suburban world.
I
Doug
love
Days.
this.
I
That's
love
cute.
it. I'm excited about it. I love Up. I love Doug. I can get behind this one.
I'm all for these like short form series they're doing too. I'm so excited for that because it feels right, especially for their audience. Like kids don't have the attention span to watch a full series about Up. I mean, maybe they do, and I'm underestimating kids' attention spans. But I feel like their genuine target demographic for a lot of these shows is someone that cannot pay attention for more than like a half-hour episode.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, as an adult, that's kind of what I want too. Like, I don't want these to be like deep, heavy, plot-driven, shows that I have to
Right.
devote
Yeah.
time to. So
we
think
don't
we
need
should
an
do it.
MCU for every universe.
You mean to tell me that Forky Asks a Question is your favorite Disney Plus show?
it's not my favorite, but I would love to see them do more of that stuff with different characters. I'm just not a huge Forky fan.
Well, and I think that's kind of where they're going. I think that was a lot more successful than they anticipated, and it's spawning a lot more spin-offs.
I liked Forky as a character in Toy Story 4, but I feel like Forky asks a question. It's just so dumb.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, I love Forky Asks a Question. I think there's some dumb moments, but
it's literally, it's like, I don't know. I didn't get into it. It's cool if you did, but
it took, again, the like quirky side character that works great as a side character, and then, you know, kept beating the dead horse, and it just got old really quick to me. But like,
yeah,
we get it. He has no idea what's going on when he asks stuff, but
yeah.
I don't know.
There were some, and I'm probably also going to cut this because we've been talking about Disney Plus for almost an hour now. But there were some that were like really funny in a stupid way, like the "What is Love" one, where like there's this weird love triangle with like 4 different toys in the preschool, was actually pretty hysterical just because of the absurdity of it.
I might need to check that one out because I definitely didn't see it.
There have been times where I've like scrolled past them, and the thing that's funny about Forky Asks a Question is more that it's like each episode is listed as its own thing on Disney Plus. It's not like all lumped into one. Every time like I'm scrolling through Disney Plus, I pop up with one, and it's like, you know, you should watch Forky Asks a Question. What is this? And I'm like, how is Forky going to explain that? And I get sucked in.
Riveting.
It's so dumb, but.
So finally, we have a totally original TV show from Pixar, inspired by different perspective of team meetings. Win or Lose follows a co-ed middle school softball team in the week leading up to their championship game. Each episode comes from the perspective of a different character viewing the same events and highlights the little challenges of life. I like the concept. I don't care about the topic is the problem. Like, I like the idea of seeing things from different perspectives, but sports.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll
I'll give it a try.
I'm going to tell you that you started explaining it and you were like, Pixar is planning a new whatever. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'm happy they're doing a new original thing. And then you said about team meetings, and I was immediately checked out. So,
well, softball team meetings, not like company meetings, I guess. So, inspired by a different perspective of team meetings. I don't know. This is, like I said, it's an interesting concept, and I'll probably give it a try. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So we also have Lin-Manuel Miranda returns to Disney for the animated film Encanto. Encanto? I don't know. Disney Animation, Lin-Manuel Miranda, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm here for that. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is slowly becoming one of Disney's go-to people, which is interesting. But I'm curious to see what he does with this.
I just now found out that he did the music for Moana.
You just found that out?
Yeah, I didn't know that was him.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, good stuff.
learning new stuff.
So this new animated film is going to be set in Colombia and is about the dangerously wonderful chaos of family, and will contain elements of magical realism because the name of the film is derived from the Spanish word for charm or spell. Interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like there are people that Disney is like very much working with right now, and I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is slowly becoming one of those people that like Disney is devoting a lot of attention to, which is great. I mean, good for him.
So to top it all off, price hike. It's currently
Of course.
$6.99. it will become $7.99. So we're getting $1 increase.
I mean, I still think Disney Plus is a very good deal, and especially
Yeah.
with all this new stuff coming out, for them to only raise it $1, I'm still fine with this.
I think if they didn't put out as much stuff as they're putting out, like if they didn't announce as much stuff as they announced tonight, even that $1 increase would be a little bit much for me, because I feel like right now I only have Disney Plus for a couple things. Like I said before, I feel like I hate to say this, I don't use my Disney Plus subscription as much as I should. Obviously, we use it for Watch Club, but that's really it for me, outside of a few shows. But these like new things, that totally justifies the cost for me.
Yeah. Well, they got 3 years of my money in advance, so I'm just riding the train.
Hey, and anybody that did the 3-year deal is making out pretty great right now.
Yeah, definitely, because it was already, it was brought it down to like, I don't know, $5.50 or $5 a month if you did it the 3 years in advance. So now it's even better deal because it's going to be $7 instead of, or $8 instead of $7.
Yeah, you can't beat that. So what are we most excited from out of all of this?
Tiana
I should have figured.
and Marvel. All the Marvel shows. Did they announce when Loki is going to be coming out?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that's the show that I'm most excited about, other than WandaVision.
I don't know. Marvel stuff I'm more cautiously optimistic of at this point, especially like not even just shows, but the movies too, mostly because I feel like we've hit the end of the Infinity War Endgame stuff, and now it's kind of like Marvel has to live up to that in a way, even though I don't think we're going to have another big event thing. I feel like there's this kind of black cloud hanging over Marvel right now.
Yeah.
But that said, I am excited for the stuff that's coming out. I just don't think I'll be as excited till it comes out.
Right. It's hard to get super excited about it until it becomes closer.
Yeah. Again, cautiously optimistic. That's the the phrase. What about you, Brian? What are you most excited for?
I mean, some of the stuff we already knew about, but I'm definitely still excited for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And then I'm very intrigued about Lightyear.
Yeah.
I think those are the two that I'm most excited about.
Nice. Well, it's definitely going to be a good year for Disney Plus.
That's for sure.
And that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Station 71 podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you want to keep in touch with us, you can find links to all of our social media as well as our show notes at www.station71podcast.com. If you want to get in touch with us to give us an episode suggestion, you can email us at station71podcast@gmail.com or join our Discord where you can get in on all the conversation at bit.ly/s71chat. We hope you enjoyed your ride, and we'll see you real soon.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.